Hi, and welcome to Stamp with Ginny. Today I'm going to share with you this beautiful card made with a one-sheet wonder and Eden's Garden. This card is number 1 in the one-sheet wonder set of 4. So let me set this aside and I'll show you how to get started. Okay, we're going to start with the stamping for this project, and I've got my sentiment here. Let's celebrate everything. I'm going to ink that up in the evening evergreen, and I'm going to stamp. And then I'm going to bring in my punch, and I'm going to punch that out simply by lining it up in the center and punching. Once I have that done, I'm going to stamp the outside edges. Now I love the stamp because it is got this cool watercolor feel to it when you stamp it, and I'm simply going to tuck that in on each side of my sentiment, and it'll do its own shading all on its own. Now that I have my stamping done, I'm ready to build my focal point. So I'm going to bring in my gold shimmer vellum and my early espresso label that I've punched out using my punch, and I am going to layer these. I'm going to set this right on top. Now for shimmer vellum, I like to use a dry adhesive for vellum, so I'm simply going to put some right in the middle of my circle here and attach it. My sentiment will cover that, so I'm not too worried, but I like to do a dry adhesive because it won't buckle the vellum. Now that I've got that layered, I'm going to bring in my card base and this beautiful strip of gold vellum that I've cut out using the coordinating die, and I'm going to set that aside while I put these two together. I'm going to layer my designer series paper here on top of the triangle for my evening evergreen. And I used the same process as I did for my cutting of the designer series paper to create that triangle, so you can refer back to the one sheet wonder video. I'm going to fold this on the score line and use my bone folder here to get a nice tight crease. And then I'm going to bring in my dry adhesive again. And I'm going to be putting this on my card front like so, and I'm going to be butting it right up against the outer edge. So I want to pay attention to this edge. And I'm going to add some of my dry adhesive again. You can use dimensionals if you would prefer, but I find this is fine. I'm going to go all the way up to the end there. And I'm going to fold that adhesive back on itself. And I can do the same thing on this end, sorry. Put the cap back on it out of habit. There we go. I'm going to fold that over. And then I'm going to bring in this beautiful paper, and I am going to line it up here on the dashed line of the die. And it almost goes from end to end. So I'm going to line that up and press down to burnish. That gives me this perfect edging. And then I'm going to bring in my paper snips. And I am simply going to snip off the excess vellum, just following the line of that cardstock. I can flip it over to do this end, and that should give me a perfect edge for my card front. There we go. So let's see if that worked the way I wanted it to. There we go. And you can trim once it's on your card front if you would like to. So I'm ready to adhere this, and I'm going to bring in my adhesive and run a line here along the back and layer that right onto my card front, lining up the outer edges. There we go. And then I'm going to take my paper snips again and trim this excess off on the top. I'm ready now to add my sentiment piece, so I'm going to adhere that straight down. And I'm going to tuck that right up in my negative space. Now I'm ready to add my sentiment, so I'm going to add a couple of dimensionals across the back. You can add one in the center here for support if you'd like. Remove those backings. I'm going to place that right in the center of this circle here. There we go. Once I have that done, I'm going to bring in these beautiful gold metallic pearls and my take your pick tool. And I'm going to pick that up, pop one here and one here on top, just for a little pop of metallic to go with that beautiful edge. Last but not least is my inside panel. I like to do my envelopes and inside panel while I have my stamp set out so that it's ready to go when I want to use it. And I am simply going to take that same image that I used on the sentiment here and run it down the left side of my panel so it's all ready to go. Now I can add my inside sentiment if I want, or I can wait till later and add that when I adhere my panel down inside. It's that quick and easy. And of course, if you'd like any of these products, feel free to stop by my online store. You can get there from my blog, Stamp with Jini. Thanks for joining me.